Dracula. In the year 1897, Jonathan Harker, a young English solicitor, traveled to Transylvania on business. He was sent by his employer to assist a mysterious nobleman, Count Dracula, who wished to purchase an estate in England. As Harker journeyed deeper into the Carpathian Mountains, he began to notice the superstitions and fears of the local people. They warned him to stay away from Dracula's castle, but he dismissed their concerns as mere folklore. Upon reaching the castle, Harker was welcomed by the Count, a tall, gaunt man with sharp features and an unsettling presence. Though Dracula was polite and hospitable, something about him seemed off. The castle itself was old, dark, and filled with strange, unsettling noises. Over time, Harker began to feel like a prisoner within its walls, and he soon discovered that Dracula was far more than just a reclusive nobleman. As days turned into weeks, Harker's suspicions about Dracula grew. He noticed that the Count never appeared during the day and had an unnatural strength and agility. Harker also found strange puncture marks on his neck and began to experience a profound sense of dread. One night, he stumbled upon a horrifying scene, Dracula emerging from a coffin in one of the castle's crypts. Harker realized, with mounting terror, that Dracula was a vampire, a creature of the night who sustained himself by drinking human blood. Desperate to escape, Harker attempted to flee the castle but was thwarted at every turn. Dracula had prepared for such an eventuality, and Harker found himself trapped, his only hope being to find a way to survive until he could escape or be rescued. Meanwhile, in England, Harker's fiancée, Mina Murray, awaited his return, growing increasingly worried as time passed with no word from him. Unbeknownst to her, Dracula had already made his way to England aboard a ship called the Demeter, bringing with him a trail of death and madness. The crew of the Demeter was found dead, their bodies drained of blood, and the ship ran aground near the town of Whitby. Dracula soon began to exert his influence in England, preying on the innocent and spreading his curse. One of his first victims was Lucy Westenra, Mina's close friend, who began to suffer from mysterious illnesses after a series of strange, nocturnal visits. Her health declined rapidly, despite the best efforts of Dr. Seward and his colleague, Professor Abraham Van Helsing, a Dutch expert on obscure diseases and the occult. Van Helsing, a learned man with knowledge of vampires, quickly identified the true cause of Lucy's condition. He informed the others that she was being preyed upon by a vampire and that their only hope was to find and destroy the creature responsible. Despite their initial skepticism, Lucy's worsening condition and Van Helsing's earnestness convinced them to take action. Tragically, they were too late to save Lucy, who succumbed to Dracula's curse and became a vampire herself. In a sorrowful and grim ritual, Van Helsing and the others were forced to destroy Lucy's undead form to release her soul from Dracula's grasp. This act steeled their resolve, and they vowed to hunt down Dracula and end his reign of terror once and for all. The group, consisting of Van Helsing, Jonathan Harker, who had finally escaped from Dracula's castle, Mina, Dr. Seward, and their friends Arthur Holmwood and Quincy Morris, embarked on a relentless pursuit of Dracula across Europe. They discovered that the Count had returned to his castle in Transylvania, where he sought refuge. Using all their knowledge and resources, they traced Dracula's movements and made their way to his castle. Along the way, Mina began to fall under Dracula's influence, showing signs of the vampire's curse. This heightened the urgency of their mission, as they knew that Mina's soul was at stake. The final confrontation took place at Dracula's castle, where the group fought desperately to prevent the Count from escaping back to his coffin, the source of his regenerative power. They battled not only Dracula but also his loyal servants and the supernatural forces he commanded. In a climactic struggle, Jonathan Harker and Quincy Morris succeeded in driving a stake through Dracula's heart while Van Helsing and the others destroyed the Count's resting place. Dracula's body disintegrated into dust, and his reign of terror was finally ended. However, the victory came at a great cost, as Quincy Morris was mortally wounded during the battle. With Dracula destroyed, Mina was freed from the vampire's curse, and the remaining members of the group returned to England. They reflected on the horrors they had faced and the lives that had been lost. Jonathan and Mina married, and though they were forever changed by their experiences, they found solace in each other and the knowledge that they had rid the world of a great evil. The story of their battle with Dracula became a tale of legend, a cautionary story about the dangers that lurk in the shadows and the strength of those who stand against them.